I think I've wanted to be a writer for as long as I can remember. So I can't actually remember the time that I decided I want to be a writer. It was just always something I really wanted to do. From about the time I was able to write. My childhood memories of writing start when I'm about 5, and at the daycare where I went, I didn't want to take the nap anymore with the other children. And so in order for me to have something to do, the staff made me little booklets, little pamphlets out of paper that they just stapled together, and then I got to sit and write stories in these booklets while the other children napped. I've always read fantasy, so fantasy was my first love as a reader. I always preferred stories that had some magical elements in them, something other than just our own boring world. And I crawled into every wardrobe I could find, and I was very disappointed when none of them ever led to Narnia. The stories I wrote had fantasy in them in one form or another. It was trolls or ghosts or other worlds or dragons. My way of writing, I think, is it's quite floral. I am not brief. I am not a poet. I'm not very good at expressing things in few words. I need quite a lot of words. Even though it's something I also am working on, because I like to learn new things, so I do try and write in different styles. My first book was published in 2007, and I've actually done this full-time since 2008. And at this point in time, I published 7 novels, all of them fantasy. "You have no daughter here," answered mother, and raised her chin as if to meet the knife's tip. Sarjan shook his head. "See now, that was not the answer I wanted to hear. But I know that the answer is somewhere inside that hag mouth of yours." He grabbed mother's chin and pried open her jaws. "I only have to dig it out." He stuck the sawtooth dagger into her mouth and made a small movement. A thin trickle of blood ran out of the corner of her mouth and down her chin. Probably proudest moments I've ever experienced as a writer, and also when I was the most surprised, I think, and stunned, was when the young women or women in general were protesting in Poland against the tightening of the abortion laws. And they started using Maresi as a symbol and posting images of themselves with the book, or making the flash symbol, the Z symbol, with books including Maresi, and just using it as a symbol for their fight and their struggle. And I was extremely taken with this. And I think it's especially interesting because there is no abortion in the book. It's not a book about abortion at all, but it's a book about women and girls coming together, standing up for themselves and fighting for themselves and for their own rights together. I create my worlds through many little pieces. I sort of see them almost as making puzzles. And there will be one piece that sort of starts the process in my imagination. And then I continue and I build on it. So for instance, if I take Maresi as an example, I visited an art exhibition with photographs many years before I actually started writing the book. And the photographs were from the Mount Athos in Greece, where there's a monastic community that's over 1,000 years old. And the photographs were very evocative, very dramatic, very interesting. And I had my notebook with me, and I was making notes, and I got both inspired and angry, and maybe that's a good combination. Because still today, only men get to set foot on the island, and women and girls are forbidden to come to the island. I remembered another note I had made in a notebook many years before about a girl that had been buried alive for talking to a boy by her own father. And in the newspaper article, it was even mentioned that they had built a chicken coop on her grave. And I don't remember what country this took place in, or what religion, or what culture, and I think that's the point. Because through fantasy I can write about issues from our world, but in a way so that they become universal. It could be any culture, it could be any country. It's not us and them. And this is the way I build these worlds, bit by bit. And I look at our world for inspiration, and I take what I find and I twist it and I make it my own. For instance, I dreamt about having at least one of my books published in a language that isn't spoken in Finland, so not in Finnish or Swedish. And then suddenly a British publisher, Pushkin Press, bought 3 books in one go to be translated into English. And the rest of the world followed, and they've been now published in 28 different countries. And I was like, what do I dream now? And I think that the fact that the Maresi, the Red Abbey trilogy, has sold to so many countries really shows that fantasy is a lingua franca. It's a language that that passes through any borders, any cultures, any ideas of age or religion or language.